Under a vast twilight sky, the city cradles its hidden secrets in soft murmurs of despair and gentle mystery that echoed through narrow alleyways and silent corridors of forgotten time. The cool night air carries whispers of lost laughter and the ephemeral traces of dreams that once soared above broken hopes. Every glistening raindrop reflects a memory fading into the dark, as if yearning to be remembered. The dim glow of ancient street lamps bathes weathered facades in a melancholy light that speaks of quiet resilience. Amid the stillness of midnight, the echo of an old heartbeat vibrates softly through deserted streets and vacant squares that hold stories of sorrow and longing. Each step on worn cobblestones stirs a silent question about lives once lived and love that slipped away into the darkness. The murmuring wind carries secrets of forgotten joys and bitter regrets woven into the fabric of a timeless night. In this quiet solitude, the soul drifts gently through memories that shimmer like fragile reflections on calm water. Fleeting glimpses of joy interlace with threads of sorrow to form a delicate mosaic of human experience that lingers long in the heart and soul. The tender balance between radiant hope and inevitable loss paints a portrait of life, imbued with both exquisite beauty and lingering regret. Memories etch themselves into every quiet moment like soft imprints on an aging wall, echoing with the bittersweet strains of yesterday. In the gentle cadence of time, each precious emotion is honored as part of an eternal song that reverberates through every silent heartbeat. In this video, we embark on a transformative journey through realms of raw emotion and faded dreams as we peel back layers of passion, conflict, and quiet despair that have shaped a world of unsung heroes and untold stories. Every scene unfolds with cinematic grace and profound vulnerability, inviting us to witness the beauty hidden within the scars of the past. We will explore the delicate interplay between hope and heartache, ambition and regret, as we reveal truths that resonate deeply within the human spirit. Prepare to be immersed in a narrative that honors both the light and the darkness, with poetic sincerity and unwavering courage. The experience will leave you with a renewed understanding of what it means to live, to love, and to rise again amidst adversity. There was something haunting about the first frame. A man waking in terror, a life he didn't recognize, a voice in his head that wasn't his own. Moon Knight opened like a riddle wrapped in silence, a story begging to be unraveled. The mirrors whispered. The shadows stirred. There was elegance in the way it unfolded. It felt different, deliberate, daring. The kind of tale that didn't need cameos to stand tall. It promised myth and madness in equal measure. Every shot felt loaded with purpose. Every glitch in Stephen's world was a signal. There was fear in the quiet and beauty in the fear. It wasn't about saving the world. It was about surviving yourself. The tension crawled under your skin and stayed there. Oscar Isaac poured soul into every glance. You could feel the cracks forming. The performance didn't ask for sympathy. It demanded attention. A man torn between realities, a mind at war with itself. And yet it all felt grounded. It felt earned. This was Marvel through a fractured lens. And for a moment, just a moment, it felt like they finally wanted to tell a human story. Not a multiverse, not a legacy. Just one man trying to make sense of his broken reflection. But then it shifted. Not gradually, not gracefully. It swerved, lost in its own momentum. Pulled by invisible strings into something safer, something flatter, something familiar. The narrative stopped listening to itself. Threads that once meant something were left behind. The mystery gave way to exposition. The tension dulled into noise. Scenes became scenes instead of steps. Movement without meaning. Khonshu, once unsettling, became a cartoon. Harrow, once magnetic, became background. Layla, full of depth, became convenient. The show unraveled its own setup, and expected us not to notice. Or worse, to not care. They had the patience to build something rare, and then the panic to tear it apart. Moon Knight became a story that didn't trust its audience. It explained instead of revealing. It showed instead of letting us feel. It told us what it thought we wanted. But what we wanted was what we were promised. A descent, a reckoning, a mythology made of memory and guilt. Instead, we got flashes of greatness buried under fear of complexity, and in that retreat, the show lost its voice. What hurts most is how close it came to brilliance. You could see the masterpiece underneath the mess. Glimpses of a story aching to be told. Moments of clarity that passed like dreams. A version of Moon Knight that never got to live. The Asylum episode lingered like a bruise. It was honest. It was raw. It was tragic. A boy who built a wall in his mind to survive. A man who had to break to become whole. That episode mattered. That episode meant something. But then it was over, and the finale forgot it happened. The emotional weight dissolved into spectacle, The twin souls who just found peace were thrown into a CGI sky battle. The intimacy was lost. The stillness replaced by shouting. It felt like the show was afraid of itself, afraid of staying small, afraid of ending in silence. But that silence would have echoed louder than any fight scene. That ending could have been a whisper that shattered us. Instead it was just noise. Moon Knight was a tragedy, not just in fiction, but in execution. It had all the pieces, all the pain, all the power. But it blinked at the moment it needed to stare back. And the story bled out before it ever reached the heart. Still, there were fragments of brilliance that refused to fade. Scenes so rich, they demand remembrance. A mirror that cracked just right. A voice that switched mid-sentence without warning. Eyes that told us everything without saying a word. Oscar Isaac gave us a performance worthy of legend. He didn't just play roles, he carried lives. Stephen with his trembling warmth, Mark with his exhausted strength. Each one breathing through the other, bound by love and denial. The visual language spoke in riddles, reflections that said more than dialogue ever could. Hallways that stretched like memories, lighting that pulsed like anxiety. There were moments where the screen felt sacred, like it understood the weight of inner battles. Even Khonshu had power in the beginning. He wasn't a god, he was a ghost, a consequence, a manipulator hiding behind divine cause. When the show remembered this, it was sublime. A meditation on control disguised as a superhero narrative. That's why the disappointment cut so deep, because we saw what it could be. We saw the soul in its eyes, and we saw it look away. But those fragments still glow in the dark, and they remind us of what it nearly became. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe this was only the start. Maybe the stumble means they'll walk steadier next time. Maybe Moon Knight will return with silence in his step, and story in his scars. Marvel has always leaned into noise, but sometimes the whisper is louder. Sometimes the quiet corners hold more truth than all the battles combined. Sometimes the fractured mind is the most heroic space of all. There is more to tell, more to heal, more to face. We've only just touched the surface of Mark and Stephen. We haven't seen what comes after peace, what comes after memory, what comes after choosing to live. If Marvel dares to return, dares to go deeper instead of wider, dares to let the pain breathe, they might just build something unforgettable, something that outlives its genre, something that bleeds and shines in equal measure. Because Moon Knight was never about gods or suits. It was about survival, about building meaning from pieces, about loving the self you never asked for. And if they remember that, then maybe it can still become what it was always meant to be. But maybe they won't. Maybe they never intended to finish what they started. Maybe Moon Knight was never meant to matter beyond its moment. Another promise sacrificed at the altar of scheduling and synergy. The finale felt like a door slammed shut, not with purpose, but with panic. No closure, no certainty, just credits, and a silence that didn't feel earned. It felt like they walked away from something they didn't understand. And that's the tragedy. Not that it failed, but that it almost didn't. That it reached out toward greatness and pulled back. That it stared into the abyss and blinked. That it told us it was different, and then became the same. There was a version of this show that changed everything, that reminded us what stories can be, that healed through honesty and broke through beauty. But that version lives in pieces now, scattered across scenes that don't speak to each other. And maybe that's what hurts most. Moon Knight didn't deserve to be forgotten. It deserved to be remembered as the one that reached the soul. And Marvel didn't just miss that chance. They gave up on it.